Hi there. So here we are, midway through January. And for the first time, unlike any other year, I gotta say that I'm starting the year off feeling more tired than I'm used to, despite having a really good break and rest. And seems like I'm not alone. A lot of my clients and friends and close circle and even greater community members, and turns out some strangers, such as the shop attendant that I shared a few comments with when I was buying some ripe bananas to make some banana bread, and he didn't know that it's better to use ripe bananas. Anyhow, I digress. A lot of us are feeling super tired, and a lot of us may be feeling actually not just super tired, but exhausted, potentially experiencing some form of burnout. And so I'd like to share with you three things that are helping me to manage my sense of joie de vivre, which is not easy. It's hard to feel effervescent and sparkly and keep a sense of humor when you're feeling quite dead tired. And I'm feeling dedicated, but I'm still tired. And I'm feeling engaged. I've got a lot of ideas and aspirations, but at times I'm still feeling exhausted. And I know that we're in for a marathon, right? So we have to manage our energy. We really do. So I often in many of my workshops speak about owning the title CEO, Chief Energy Officer. And energy is a renewable asset. But is it? Because if you've been on the other side of burnout, there's a fine line between hustle and experiencing a sense of absolute exhaustion. And if you don't take care of yourself, you can end up being potentially out of action or not able to get out of bed for not just days or weeks, but for months. And so the first thing would be to, if you think that maybe you have a form of lingering fatigue and exhaustion that hasn't got a sense of coming right, even though you may be doing things that you know are right for you, have a conversation with somebody, read up about burnout, and see what you can do. Because there's different approaches to different phases of burnout. So for instance, if you're at the beginning phase where your adrenaline and cortisol may be really high, you're going to treat that quite differently to if you've maybe neglected to do anything, or you've really pushed through for months and months, as many of us have, and now you may be at a point of cortisol depletion. So speak to somebody who can take you through this. I don't want to go into too much detail. Hi there, Shaylee. About burnout itself. What I'd like to do is share three tips that are helping me that potentially could help you. And if you have got your own tip that's helping you to bounce back at the start of this year, even though you may not be feeling very bouncy, the reality is that we have to get on with life, right? The show must go on, so to speak. We have bills to pay, but there's a lot of pressure. Some of us have gone from like dual income households to single household income. There's huge amounts of pressure around the conditions that we find ourselves in. And and if the past is anything to go on, you know, we can expect a lot of change. So how do you not burn out and not lose your sense of joie de vivre and connection in the process? The first thing is to know that there's a difference between being productive and just being busy. Now, I'm somebody who really can keep myself busy and distracted, and that's part of an old identity that I'm trying to shed. And being productive, a lot of people that specialize in this that I'm following and reading, and thanks to you, Shirley, for that great video that you shared with me earlier today. In fact, I'll post the link here in the comments. Unless you're quick and able to do that, please do. You have my full permission to do that. And I was inspired. And these three things are helping me at the moment, even though I may not be feeling as energetic as I'd like to. So the first thing is say no by default. Now, I loved Shonda Rhimes' book, A Year of Yes, the concept of just saying yes to embrace all opportunities that come your way. However, when you're feeling quite tired and under-resourced and potentially experiencing some post-traumatic stress, which many of us will be, COVID on its own, as one thing from 2020, was traumatic. And whether you feel it yourself or not, collectively, we are all impacted by that. And it's going to show up at different times in our lives. And so by saying no as default, you can then be very critical about what you let into your life, what kind of conversations you have, what messages you feel you have to respond to, who you end up socializing with. But that does take a level of connection with your body to understand what might be depleting your energy and what may be lifting it up. And so, what has helped me with that is in the mornings, I say no to the world and I put me first. So, this is the second point. So, make no your default so that you can really be clear on what you allow in. And, and I also want to say at this point is that to show up as a high performing leader, community member, or be the best parent or friend that you can be, you absolutely need to make sure that you are resourced and feeling good yourself. So putting yourself first, I used to sometimes use the language, and words matter, right? Because they carry energy and intention. I used to say, I might just be selfish, but I'm going to spend time on my own because I know that solitude is an important thing for me. It's not about being selfish. It's about being self-focused, not even selfless, but about putting yourself first so that you can show up at your best. And so I put myself first in the morning. I find that works for me because if I plan to do it at the end of the day, I love my work so much that it often ends up taking priority. And so I've left my phone off most mornings for 2 hours after I wake up. I've also given myself the luxury of not always setting an alarm. And it's incredible how much sleep I'm getting. I mean, I'm really wintering here in the UK at the moment, and I'm sleeping 8, 9, sometimes 10 hours a night. And my body's needing that, so I'm allowing that. The busy identity that I used to, or sometimes still carry, of course, wants me to be up at like 7 a.m. and have done some of my exercise and be ready and working by 8 a.m. And I'm allowing myself on days that I can to sometimes only show up at my laptop at 9, 9:30, maybe even 10. I mean, it's not about being busy, right? It's about being productive. And then the third thing is I teach 4 different dimensions of well-being because I help leaders and busy people enrich the quality of their lives by holistic well-being. And holistic well-being for me is around your physical well-being, your body, your mental well-being, your mind, and then your emotional well-being, your heart. And the 4th dimension is your spiritual well-being. So your sense of meaning or connection, your legacy, are you contributing to something bigger? It could be a spirituality or a religion. And for me, this is around having a strong purpose and sense of why. Now, Simon Sinek, who I've followed, as I'm sure you do, and I got to hear him live last week, Friday, which was great, thanks to Vistage. And he reiterated why having a compelling why is so important and how things have changed around our whys and making it service orientated and positive and for the greater good. What it reminded me about is how on the mornings or the days where I don't have a sense of joie de vivre or I'm feeling a bit flat, I then remind myself of what my why is. And I know that Simon actually has a course that takes you through that. I have also recently come across Danielle Laporte's Desire Map. And I find their 2 approaches magnificent. So Simon's approach is quite, shall I say, masculine and clear and targeted and cognitive. Whereas Danielle's approach in the Desire Map is, beautifully, I would say, feminine and creative. And it's all about not setting goals and intentions per se, but having very clear emotions and feelings and desires that you would like to feel. So when you create your why statement and have a sense of purpose, is to not neglect understanding what is the core feeling, the core emotion that you ultimately want to be feeling. Because we limit ourselves when we say, this is how much turnover I want to make, rather than I want to have a feeling of being abundant, or I want to have a certain feeling around vitality and energy, as opposed to saying I need to lose that amount of weight. So those are 2 incredible resources that I'd highly recommend. And when you're clear on your why and your purpose, it helps you to know what to say yes and no to, which takes us back full circle to my first point of making no your default. If that doesn't resonate with you, perhaps then if you know your clear why, you can ask yourself, is this activity that I'm about to do, or this engagement, or this next decision, is it going to take me closer towards my goal or my ultimate desired core feelings or my why, or further away? And that can help you then decide yes or no. So these are 3 out of so many things that I could be sharing with you around managing your energy and your sense of vitality and well-being. Your health really is your greatest asset. I have seen so many clients get to a point of real exhaustion, perhaps not even complete burnout. I've seen that too, where it can take months to get our physiology and chemistry back on track. But when we're not at our best, we just lose out on potential sparking of life and feeling good. And it doesn't have to be big things that you do. I mean, a small thing that I'm doing is I try and, at the start of the day, set one intention, say for the day. Like I'd like to be playful today, or I'd like to connect with this person. And rather than have, a to-do list that's 10 things long, have one or two things so that by the end of the day, you can tick that off and feel good. And you are doing great. Considering where we are and what we have, we are doing remarkably well. It can be easy to look at what everybody else is doing, and you get some people who, within 2 hours of being awake, they've had cold showers and meditated and exercised and answered 15 emails. And you can perhaps be feeling like, I don't know, either overwhelm or confusion or a sense of it all being too much. So even though I've shared 3 things and I'm about to share one bonus thing, pick one. One's enough. Like, rather be consistent. Consistency trumps intensity. So one thing that I've also done, because I am wanting to be more playful, I find it helps me manage my busy persona. And there's a couple of other reasons which I'll share perhaps at another time. And to do that, I find having something on my work desk or a place that I regularly spend time at as a reminder useful. So I decided that I wanted to get myself a snow globe. What I like about this is, it's a playful snow globe to me, but also what snow globes do is when there's a storm around us, so all the snowflakes are up in the air, you can't really see what's going on inside. So when you're feeling all stormy and busy and filling all the times in your day, it can be hard to see what's happening really inside at your true essence. But give yourself some stillness. So through time in nature or meditation, by saying no, by being clear on boundaries, by creating space in your diary, windows, so to speak, even just sitting and having a 5-minute cup of tea or a 10 or 15-second look into whatever metaphorical snow globe you have can help you also connect with yourself. And once you do that, you'll really harness your superpowers. So thanks to my little snow globe here, I'm reminded that every now and again I need to just take a 15-second break, watch the snowflakes settle, and check in with myself. So I'm going to help you, and partly to help myself, because I teach this work because I most need to learn it. I'm going to be doing monthly masterclasses, and on Friday I'll share the topic for January's masterclass and when it'll be. And I'm really sensing that this topic of bouncing back from burnout when you can't put your life on hold is something that would be valuable. So if you're interested in that topic, let me know, and I may then put together a really useful, practical and playful approach to managing burnout when you can't put your life on hold for the February masterclass. Thank you for watching, and thank you, Shelley, for posting the link. She's got some really cool stuff. Cheers for now.